The city never sleeps, and neither does trouble. It was just past midnight when my phone buzzed, dragging me from a dream I wouldn't remember. On the other end was dispatch, their voice a familiar drone of bad news. A body had been found at the old Starlight Theatre, a place that hadn't seen a show in 50 years. Just my kind of party. When I arrived, the scene was a chaotic ballet of flashing lights and uniforms. I ducked under the yellow tape, the smell of damp brick and something metallic hitting me. The victim was a man named Arthur Vance, a well-known art critic. He was lying center stage, under the single ghost light, dressed in a tuxedo that looked far too expensive for a dusty, abandoned theatre. The cause of death was obvious, a single, precise wound to the chest. But the staging was theatrical. My partner, Detective Lena Petrova, was already there, jotting notes in her pad. "Miles," she said without looking up, "what do you make of this? Looks like a final bow." I knelt beside the body, careful not to disturb anything. More like a curtain call. "Lena, a very permanent one." I noticed something clutched in Vance's hand, a single white feather. Strange. Vance wasn't known for his love of ornithology. We started digging into Vance's life the next morning, fueled by my mandatory cold brew and Lena's endless supply of protein bars. Arthur Vance, it turned out, was a man who made more enemies than friends. His reviews were brutal, capable of sinking an artist's career overnight. We had a list of disgruntled painters, sculptors, and gallery owners a mile long. Anyone he'd ever written about was a potential suspect. One name kept popping up: Julian Croft, a young avant-garde painter. Vance had recently written a scathing review of Croft's latest exhibition, calling it a derivative mess, devoid of talent. The review had gone viral, and Croft's career took a nosedive. We paid him a visit at his studio, a chaotic warehouse space filled with giant canvases and the overwhelming smell of turpentine. Croft was a ball of nervous energy, his hands stained with paint. He denied everything, of course. He claimed he was devastated by the review, but would never harm anyone. "Art is my battleground, detective," he said, gesturing wildly at his work. "Not a dark alley, or a theatre." As we were leaving, I noticed a series of paintings in the corner, covered by a drop cloth. They depicted a fallen angel with large white wings. And the feathers, they looked identical to the one we found on Vance. Lena and I circled back to the theatre that night. Something about the location felt important, not just a random spot. I ran a historical search on the Starlight Theatre. Turns out, 50 years ago, it closed after a tragic accident. During a performance of a play called The Seraph's Fall, a stage light collapsed, killing the lead actress. Her name was Isabella Croft, Julian Croft's grandmother. Suddenly, the pieces started clicking into place. This wasn't just about a bad review. This was about family history, about a wound that had festered for half a century. We learned that Arthur Vance, in his youth, was a stagehand at the Starlight. He was on duty the night Isabella died. Official reports called it an accident, but rumors had always swirled about negligence. We went back to Julian Croft's studio, this time with a warrant. We didn't find a weapon, but we found something better: Isabella Croft's diary, tucked away in an old trunk. Its pages were filled with her dreams and her fears. She wrote about the play, The Seraph's Fall, and how she was going to wear a costume with magnificent white wings. She also wrote about a young stagehand who was infatuated with her, a boy who became angry and jealous when she rejected his advances. A boy named Arthur. The final entry was chilling. Isabella wrote that Arthur had tampered with the rigging for the stage light as a prank to scare her, to make her need him. It was a prank that went horribly wrong. Arthur Vance had gotten away with it for 50 years, building a new life, a new identity as a powerful critic. While the Croft family lived with the shadow of that accident, we confronted Croft with the diary. He finally broke. He explained how he found the diary and learned the truth. The bad review was just the final insult. Vance destroying another Croft's artistic career, just as he had destroyed his grandmother's life. Julian had lured Vance to the theatre under the pretense of showing him a new performance piece. He wanted Vance to confess on the very stage where his grandmother had died. But Vance had laughed in his face, arrogant to the end. In a fit of rage, Julian enacted his own tragic final act. The white feather wasn't from a painting. It was from his grandmother's original costume, which he had kept all these years. He placed it in Vance's hand as a symbol, a message that Isabella's story was finally being told. Justice for his grandmother, but at the cost of his own future. As we led him away, I looked back at the canvases of the fallen angels. It wasn't just art imitating life. It was art screaming for a truth that had been buried for far too long. Another case closed, another story of secrets and sorrow written into the city's history. And for me, another long night that would surely be followed by another cold brew, waiting for the next call. The city never sleeps, and its ghosts are always waiting for their curtain call. Thanks for watching our story unfold. If you enjoy these deep dives into the city's darkest corners, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a case. We'll see you on the next one.